Hello, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the program. Thank you very much for your time. And tonight we will be looking at the manifesto. The first manifesto to have been launched as part of the 2016 election is the manifesto of the ruling party. Quite a bit of conversation about who is picking up whose manifesto went on around the country until this time. Well, the NDC have launched their manifesto, and tonight we'll be looking at it in some detail. But those of you who have been watching Good Evening Ghana will recognize the date of the 20th of September as significant because in January, a gentleman came into the studio and told us, and today is 20th September, by the way, a gentleman came to the studio and told us that on the 20th of September, he will put out information that relates to which candidate would win this year's election. And today is the date of the prophecy. So we have not disappointed you. We have engaged with him, and we'll give you some details as to how the engagement with him went today. I'm talking about Prophet Adom-Otchere. Later on, Abyna Ansaa Adjei will join us to have a look at the NDC manifesto. She'll be re-echoing the press statement of the NPP yesterday, which was actually read by Boakye about the manifesto. We have some critical questions for her because an analysis of both events shows that a few things were left out. But Abyna will join us, and I'll tell you who she is when she joins us in the studio. She'll be representing the New Patriotic Party. So in January, this is what Prophet Adom-Otchere told us.
In the realms of the spirit, where our president is standing, he's very far in the spirit. And where he is, I can say this to you, that there is no close gap in the spirit against his position. But I can say this boldly on this set, that the Lord that ministered to me, that he is going to outdoor our president of this nation publicly and in the ears of everybody by the September 20th. And from September 20th going, let everybody write it down. God is about to affirm. But let me tell you, our president sitting on the throne, he's very far in the spirit, and nothing. And I'm going to discuss.
Let's understand September 20th. You've said too many things.
And far in the spirit.
Yeah, you've said too many things that we don't understand. What is the meaning of very far in the spirit? What does that mean?
Very far in the spirit.
He prays more?
That is, it's up to him. I had to find out from Mr. President. What exactly is he doing?
When you say spirit, are you talking about the spirit of Elohim or the spirit of Baal?
His personal relationship with God.
With the God of Abraham.
With the God that he served.
Let's be clear. The God of Abraham or the God that he serves?
The God of Isaac and the God of Jacob.
You are confident that that's the God that he serves?
That is the God that he serves. Because with all indication and knowing and assessing spiritual truth, I can say that our president served those people.
With him today and said to him that, Prophet, today is the 20th of September. Would you come and redeem the prophecy and tell us who actually would pick up the president-elect button on the 7th, 8th, or 9th of November? And his answer was that he said the 20th of September, yes, he accepts that today is 20th, but given the circumstances, he would actually do the announcement on Good Evening Ghana in a live program on Tuesday, the 4th of October. So we immediately put this artwork together so that you can look at it on our Facebook page and you can share with your friends. On Tuesday, the 4th of October, Prophet Adom-Otchere will predict the winner of the election according to his suggestion in January that by the 20th of September, God was going to reveal to him who will win the election. He has said to us today that on Tuesday, the 4th of October, he will be in the studio. It will be a live Good Evening Ghana session. Book your seats ahead with me, and Prophet Adom-Otchere will be here to announce the winner, who would be the winner of the December 7th election. So all those of you who had booked your seats in advance for tonight, sorry to postpone it. It's going to happen on the 4th of October. That's something like 2.5 weeks from today. It will be a Tuesday, 4th of October. He will be in the studio to tell us exactly who is going to win the election of this year. That's election 2016. Anyway, so yes, it's now 17 minutes past 9. We have to add, though, that at the time that Prophet Adom-Otchere gave us this prophecy, there was a counter-prophecy by Prophet Osu-Bempah. Just to be fair to our viewers who will be wondering why we have not highlighted that, here it is. I almost say John Mahama will win the election. Are they false prophets or not?
No.
Dear me can say, mint me condemn will be so be a false prophet. It is said the Ajima Prempe, Ebe can't say who said your mama were far. I'm telling you, Papa. Ghana for you me dinde Isaac Osubempa. Me say, share anything be about, and not caution or me say, Senanado, bet to me at Tunya maybe year spiritually. At Nikuta Nanado will win the election. Now, I will come to your studio.
Are you going to help him to? Is it part of your calling? Is it part of your calling to help Akufo-Addo to achieve that?
No, sir. Obama there. I will pray for him. So soon as President John Mahama Obama, I will pray for him.
But will you tell President John Mahama in the face if he came to you that President, it is not you?
Oh yes, very easy.
Say Nanado ba na President Mahama ba na omunyina ba na ne hwanso ne be wini.
Unim bibi, di onyame aka no, eno na bebe. Di onyame ahihye no, eno na bebe.
So that was the contrary view that was offered by Prophet Osubempa. But the big story is that on the 4th of October, Agyemang Prempeh will be here with us to redeem the pledge and tell us who is likely to win. It's now 60 minutes past the top of the hour. Tonight we're going to do a surgical exercise. The NDC had launched their manifesto over the weekend. Indeed, President Mahama had articulated the manifesto in an event in Accra sometime last week, around last week, Tuesday, I think it was a week from today. And at the weekend, there was a big event in Sunyani where the NDC celebrated victory ahead of the election when they launched their manifesto. Yesterday, the NPP held a press conference in Accra announcing two things: that their manifesto will be launched on the 8th of October and that they had views, of course, we knew they would, had views about the NPP's manifesto. Tonight, we will take a dissecting view of the NDC's manifesto from an NPP person. Abyna Ansaa Adjei is the author of 10 books. Is one of the women that you have to be proud of, one of the Ghanaian women that you have to be actually proud of. Her recent book is a biography of Dr. J.B. Dankwa for young readers. Abyna was appointed as a special assistant to President in the President Kufuor administration. She was assigned to the Ministry of Education, and there she assisted Elizabeth Ohini in a lot of the things they did with tertiary education. She is an alumni of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and also the London School of Economics. She'll be my guest in the studio representing the NPP to talk to us about what their views are on the NDC's manifesto. Send your queries, questions, and observations to our Facebook page, Good Evening Ghana Official, or to Twitter at Adom-Otchere, and also by text message to our regular text portal, and we'll be able to respond to that. After the break, Abyna will join me in the studio for a full session of questions and answers on the NDC manifesto from the NPP perspective. Welcome back to the show, and thank you very much for your time. Abyna has joined me in the studio, and good evening to you, madam.
Good evening.
Yes, I've been looking through the many books that you've launched. So the new one is Things Every Child of Ghana Should Know About Dr. J.B. Dankwa. That's it. That's the latest book. Something that every child should know about Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Okay. And you also have something on Grandma's story, Ghana at 50. And then she has another book on Grandpa Prof's story, Kenya is 50 years old. Okay, so you did that for Kenya. Oh, okay.
Self-education.
That's interesting. This one is Baba's story. Nigeria is 50. Okay. Okay, I see his autograph by General Obasanjo. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so and then you have the King of Gold. Something
my
that
undergrad
appears.
thesis.
Oh, at the KNUST?
That's correct.
Okay.
That I was sponsored by Data Bank to make into a book.
Okay,
and if
okay,
you went
okay.
into Harvard, you find on the shelves in Stanford and MIT.
So what were you addressing in this King of
It's a
Gold?
life story. It's more about the Ashanti history and the history of the kings, and it ends with a life of a king.
Okay, so this is another one on Ghana at 50.
This is the official Ghana at 50 commemorative book.
Oh, that was done by you. You authored it.
I did.
Amazing. So what's your background, really?
Okay, I have a degree in publishing. My major was in printing from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And then I have a master's in social policy from the London School of Economics. But I went to work at education, and I fell in love with things that had to do with education. That's how come I ended up
Writing books for kids and stuff like that.
Actually, the kids' books sell more. Grown-ups, you guys, I don't get it. For the Dankwa book, I have a grown-up version. I'm not sure when I'm going to release that, but the children's books do so well.
Okay.
So for adults,
because
we
many
take our
people want
time
their children to
learn
read.
things. That's correct.
This conversation about manifestos began with an accusation from your party that the NDC were either preparing to take your ideas or that they had taken your ideas. And so eventually the NDC demonstrated that they can actually put out a manifesto without you. So they did. And they've done that. And their manifesto, like their green book, speaks to things that the government has achieved and things that they intend to build up on what they've achieved. So in terms of things that the government has achieved, the president articulated, pointing to things that have been done. In energy, they have a story of what has been done and how what has been done will catapult the nation onto another level, such that they will do some more. In education, they were
in
clear.
Education is just...
Well, but they have pointed to figures of a certain number of schools being completed and a certain number of schools. So you can see a thematic progression of what they've been doing and talking about working for Ghana,
So we should take the things they've written at face value, or we should order them or should ask questions because it's in the book.
Unless you can tell us, as Boachi attempted to do yesterday, that something that they said they have done, they have not done.
They have not done.
Yes.
So what happens to things they have done that are not impressive? Like there's something about textbooks in there. In 2005, the NPP government got some money from the World Bank and printed textbooks. One pupil got a textbook for every single subject. And then...
Let's say that again. Each pupil
got a
textbook
from class 1 to JHS 3.
Nationwide.
That's correct. $110 million. And then...
Well, let's take you on that. Let's get that clear.
Yes.
You are saying that in 2005, the NPP had a program under which each pupil in Ghana...
Yes.
Up to class 6 or JSS?
From class 1 to JSS 3.
Each pupil
got one textbook for every
subject.
Per subject.
Free.
And then there was
Free.
a 25% buffer stock of textbooks in addition. Yes.
Free.
So yeah, so if you say
Absolutely
universal
free.
ratio,
Okay.
you've got it, you've surpassed it.
Yeah,
what
but
does that mean?
So what's the point you're making?
The point I'm making is that if you've written something in a book and you want us to praise you, you should do better than your predecessor for us to earn our praise. That's the point.
What did they say?
They said they've given people books in English, maths, and science. So we should all sing hallelujah. When we've done this for all the subjects before and you've taken us back, we can't say hallelujah to that.
That's on distribution of textbooks, but there are other areas. For
No, I'm just, that's one example. You're saying that we said they've done things, but if they say they've written them, does that make them the truth?
Okay, so you're saying that but they're saying that they've done maths, English, and science. That's true. You are just saying that there was a better record.
That's right.
Before, okay.
So don't be boasting about this. They call it a big feat or great feat.
Is it from the Green Book or it's from the manifesto?
The Green Book?
The Green Book. It's also their history of what
it's in the
done.
manifesto too, if I can find it. Where are my stuff?
In terms of beginning the process, for instance, eliminating afternoon schooling, they've done that, haven't they?
They claim they've done it, but you have to do a proper edit to figure out whether there are no more afternoon schools.
Well, they said they reduced it to the
Because
barest minimum.
What
Because
we've
when
done
you were
with this
exiting, there were afternoon
That's
schools.
so true. But what we've done with this thing is an initial assessment of what they said. The team is now working to put together a real assessment, a holistic assessment.
So you did a hasty presentation.
It says it's an initial reaction in the beginning of watching things. It says an initial reaction to what they
Why
did.
Why do Ghanaians need a partial reaction from the
not a
opposition
partial
when
reaction.
you are not
It's an
ready?
initial reaction.
Yes, but you are not ready. You're not prepared to give us a full reaction.
We are. They are working
so why
on it.
Are you, yeah, but why don't you wait for that? Because
Why should we
because
wait?
you want to be a government in waiting, Abyna. So if you want to be a government in waiting, you would have to give us information that is holistic.
We've
So
just
here
done
you
that.
are. You come and tell us that okay. So the NDC launched a manifesto. We're going to tell you part of the story about our views. We'll tell you the rest later.
The main thing we are trying to say with this exercise is that it's a thing of promises made, promises broken, and promises repeated. So you made promises. You didn't fulfill those promises. You've jumped on to make even more grandiose promises. And with what money? And then you want to come back to us and say, you have repeated what you said.
How many schools, model schools have been constructed? Secondary schools?
Here, now?
Now, under
this
the
morning,
NDC?
I had 10.
You had 10 from the
were
NDC?
commissioned. I was listening to the radio this morning. I had 10 have been commissioned of the secondary schools they were doing, and 128 under construction, 123 under construction.
You didn't do that?
We?
Yes, there were no model secondary schools.
We did Trevor Prass. So what we did was
the model that they put up is huge. That's what you're seeing in the Green Book.
I love the Green Book.
That's significant.
This is theirs.
Yes.
But Trevor Prass, so It's a boarding school. It's far, far bigger than this. And for us, it wasn't about just throwing things and saying, this is a school, it's a new school. When you have old schools that need to be brought up to a particular standard, we had the model school program, Odogono. By the time we finished with Odogono, the kind of grades that were coming out of Odogono, even my school in Fansiman couldn't produce because the teachers had some confidence in themselves. They had a new campus.
What did you do with Odogono school?
It was called the upgrading project. The AFDB gave us money and we upgraded. There were 56 schools. By the time we left power, we done 31. West Africa Secondary School, Chifoprak, Beidou Bonso in Shama. So it's not about just saying, this week I saw a school in the middle of a forest, and I named it the Forest Community School for Dwarfs. I'm not sending my kid there. When you are building a school, what are you building? You're just building a school because you can. It's a day school. What do you take in consideration before you build those schools? These 200 schools, if they say every school has 500, the number of kids you make is about how many millions? Do we have children of the particular age going to secondary school? As for building stuff, everybody can build stuff, but do you have a plan with the stuff you build?
So you are criticizing the education policy?
Oh, I'm not. I wouldn't dare. The Abyna Ansaa is my friend. She launched my Anansi book. She launched it.
You won't criticize her because she's your friend?
No, that's what I'm want to say. I'm not here to criticize. I'm here to say they made promises. They've broken those promises. They've recycled the promises. Why should anybody be impressed?
But in terms of beginning free SHS,
Yes.
According to the Constitution, that these things be made progressively free, the NDC government says that they have begun the process.
That's actually very true.
Of the grand vision of Akufo-Addo to have free SHS.
The NDC is starting the grand vision of Akufo-Addo.
No, I'm putting it that way. And I'm not
well
finished.
Done to them.
Don't clap yet, I'm not finished, because they said that same vision that Akufo-Addo was not aware of how much it would cost. They have presented it and calibrated it in a better way. And they are going progressively to deliver it. And that they have delivered.
The Akufo-Addo knew the policy will cost how much money they donated to Woyome, how much money has gone into corruption, how much money has been borrowed and wasted. That's how much free SHS will have cost.
That's speculative.
That's not speculative. The amount of money they borrowed for infrastructure purposes is $40 billion. Of this $40 billion, only $7 billion has gone actually into the infrastructure. And what is the $33 billion?
Well, there's a conversation that some of that has been used to retire the debts that they I'm sorry.
Retire. Oh,
yes, there's a conversation that a lot of the money, some of the money they've borrowed has been used to pay the debts of the NPP. Okay, but that's an interesting figure that we can take you on again. So
they haven't been good stewards of our money. That's why they can say that free SHS is not possible. And then you say you're going to do it progressively free. What do? You take 12 million cedis and find 320,000 students and divide it by them, 38 cedis. If I'm a parent and I have a bill coming before me and you give me 38 cedis, that's an insult. When I see you give a Kia Donko a car, I see you throw money at chiefs. When you are supposed to look after Ghanaian children, you give them 38 cedis for day students, and you say you're going to make it for borders. That's unimpressive. We have not
I don't understand. What's 38 cedis for what?
Okay, in the manifesto, they say they're going to make it progressive free. This year, there's the education sector report for 2016, and in it, they say they spent 12 million cedis on 320,000 borders. You want to do the math? You want to do the math?
No, go on.
Yeah. So each student will get 38 cedis. Last year, in September, they pay 38 cedis per day student. What does 38 cedis do for a parent who is struggling to...
Is it per day or per term?
Per year. That's what all they gave for the whole year for these students.
Well, but this is your extrapolation of the
no,
figures.
It's not.
I'm sure Kujeto would disagree with
that.
This
morning Kujeto was... I made him a bit sad in the studio. He didn't come back.
I didn't ask him to come.
Oh, I would have loved to have him here.
No, I wanted us to hear from you so we can deal with it.
All right. I would have loved to have him here.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the thing about progressively free. So you can read it yourself and then you can decide whether I'm making tales.
And you're reading from the manifesto?
No, this is the education sector report.
Okay.
2016. Okay. There it is. The amount they spent and who they gave it to. If you do the math, if you have people around here.
Why is this report, what is it commissioned for?
Every year, the Ministry of Education tells us where we are in education.
Okay, so this is for public consumption.
Yes, it is. It's
okay, so it's on page 38, and it says, progressively free SHS strategy. The strategy seeks to realize the constitutional provision of implementing progressively free SHS in Ghana to the extent that resources shall allow by providing additional subsidies. Okay, so where are the figures? Should I go on to another paragraph?
12 million something.
Okay, is it the same first paragraph? Okay, Community Day Senior High School Project. The Community Day Senior High School Project was propped in 2012 to increase SHS, etc. I can't find 12 million.
The first disbursement of funds for the first term of the 2015-16
academic year was completed in 2015 with 320,488 day students across the country and supported at a cost of 12,178,554 cities. Disbursements of funds were made to SHS2 and SHS3 students, as SHS1 students had not been placed in schools at the time of payment. Okay, it says supported at the cost. Does it mean that's the total cost?
That's what they gave. 38 cities per student. So tell me whether we should applaud them or we should say, where's the money you could have used for this?
But has that got to do with free SHS?
It's a topic. It's a progressively free SHS.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, let's talk about energy, for instance. Energy.
I think that what we should need to do is to stick to this man's script, because that's why I'm here.
Well,
so if you want me to go on conjecture,
we've looked at the
was
script.
very bad for Ghana.
Yeah, but you have energy.
Collapsed.
No, but you have dealt with energy in this.
What does it say?
Yeah, so you tell me.
It doesn't speak about energy much.
You didn't deal with energy in the events yesterday?
No, not much.
What did you deal with?
Had crippled businesses, and what's the thing called? Something to do doing business in Ghana.
Yes,
our prices are too high.
But in the manifesto of the NDC, they make a big point about taking Ghana out of an energy crisis.
This is an
is that true
reaction.
or false?
Is it true or false?
Yes, that they make a big point of taking Ghana out of an energy crisis.
Take for example,
is energy something you don't want to talk about?
No, I can talk about it. I can give
didn't want to talk about yesterday as well.
I don't know. I can't speak for Mr. Jacko. What I can say to you initially is that we spent $510 million on Ameri. GE, which made the machine that Mary sold to us, sells that machine for $220 million. So if that's what you want to speak about, that shows corruption, that shows no value for money, that shows incompetence, that shows you killing the people of Ghana. That money could have done free HSS. We don't have
all the information on the money. What the NDC is saying, Abyna, is that Ghana was in an energy crisis. Right now, Ghana is no longer in an energy crisis.
Tell that to my girlfriend Lamisi, who had no power on Saturday.
Out of energy crisis.
Or tell it for people who don't have power for 2 days in a row in their
What
houses.
is your party's assessment of the supply of energy situation in Ghana
Our party has
today?
energy people who speak to this. I possibly cannot speak to something like that.
So you see why it's difficult and it's not helpful to do an initial reaction.
That's your view, sir.
But otherwise, our viewers want to hear about basically the things that the NDC said in the manifesto. And I told them that we're going to have an NPP critique of the manifesto, and they are very excited about you, and they're excited about the program. And you have to tell us, and you can't say much about energy because we should wait for you and the team to have a better look at it. Okay, let's talk about putting people first, which was the first topic that Mr. Ejako raised yesterday.
And that's
what is it about putting people first that the NDC has not put people first?
A party that puts people first of all, doesn't put corruption first. That's our first point. The money that has been wasted could have been used for interventions for the people of Ghana. Tell me.
You see, this corruption issue, you were part of the NPP government.
I was.
And President Kufuor's view about corruption is that he cannot just take people and hold them before court and pronounce them corrupt. That verdict and that decision, the judgment of one being corrupt or not, is a judgment for a court of competent jurisdiction.
But then Malamisa went to jail.
Yes, but President
Mr. Mahama tried to say when people do bad things,
the
National
Service guy is still on trial, isn't he?
Trial?
Yeah, they're still on trial.
Malam tasted jail. He nearly got raped in jail.
But you have to have a trial before you go to prison.
Exactly. So the thing is that he showed willpower to take his own minister and say, you've done wrong, go away. People do things with our money, and what do you get? You reassign them to Flagstaff House.
I don't understand that. Who are you referring to?
Mr. Free Ankwa, something to do with the World Cup. Mr. Dua Sari gets a new assignment. Why don't you say these people did wrong with Ghana's money?
Yeah,
Let me show the people of Ghana that this didn't work.
President Kufuor said we should be careful about this, that we should find the evidence before we say people are corrupt.
So
when he had a lot of attack on corruption. So I don't know whether you can easily
why can't I?
And just freely
or because they came on TV and shed a few tears, that means they were innocent? Yeah,
you can't say freely that people are corrupt. I don't know how.
Freely?
That's what you're saying.
Why not? That's
what you're saying, without any basis. So you have been in government before, and I'm sure you wouldn't like Ghanaians to build up that habit, would you? But anyway, let's go to about saying people are corrupt when there's no basis to say that.
There's no basis?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a course that must say. That's what Mr. Kufuor taught us.
Made me laugh. Last week he said that's what he said.
That's what Mr. Kufuor said.
That's not what he said.
He said that's not what he said.
Last week he says that corruption was there since Adam or something. That's not what he meant.
No, he said corruption was there since Adam. That's a different statement. But in terms of taking people on corruption, his view was that evidence must be provided.
Yes.
Hardcore evidence that can survive in court.
So when people go and call financial lawyers by buying kinky for $60 a ball, that's not corruption. That's because it's Brazilian kinky made out of gold dust.
Putting people first. How hasn't the NDC put people first?
Today, Ghanaians pay more for their electricity than their rent. A government that says it came and created a better Ghana, everybody's suffering. Things in the market are expensive. People find it this September. The number of people who asked me to give them money to pay their kids' school fees, I've never seen anything like that.
Ghanaians pay more for electricity
When is
than
the last
pay
time?
for rent. That's I just want to get a point you're making.
Yeah. Electricity is so expensive.
What level of rent you mean? You mean average rent?
Okay, it's not me and you rent, but the people who struggle to pay are more than us who, by God's grace, can afford to pay.
So the average rent is lower than electricity
Last
tariffs.
week I was in church. A lady got a bill for 3,800 cedis. Her rent every month is like 170. She and the tenants around, they got 3,800. This woman sells milk and gari. How's she gonna pay?
The point you're making is electricity is too expensive.
It is too expensive. How many times has it gone up in recent times?
Who makes electricity tariffs?
Who makes electricity tariffs?
Yes.
What do you mean?
PURC. Is that government?
Is that government?
Yes.
Government has no say?
Well, the NPP tried to tell us that it's PURC. They didn't. They tried to tell us that the organization or the institution that is pronouncing on rent is PURC.
On rent?
Yes, PURC. On electricity tariffs. It's PURC.
So?
But I'm asking you, so are you blaming PURC or you're
But
blaming the NDC?
actually doesn't do it alone. It does with the number of bodies for them to agree that this rate is good to go. So if we are...
Yes, PURC is the key, not the government, not the institution of the government.
The PRC doesn't come under the government?
No, you tell me. You worked in government before.
Yes, I didn't work with the PRC. I wouldn't speak to that and look like an idiot.
But when you said, when you were blaming government for electricity tariffs, did you consider the fact that it is the PURC actually that names the tariff?
But I mean, I will consider that. But the thing is that who produces the electricity? We spend a lot of money. Ameri brought us power. It's very expensive. VRA is bankrupt. So all these are government related. So you can't tell me that when they spend so much money to do these things, they say PRC, give it whatever price you want.
So putting people first, the first failure, one of the failures that you identify on the NDC side is that electricity tariffs are too high.
Prices are increasing by the minute.
Prices of what?
Anything. I mean, when I went to the market to buy gari, I haven't bought some for a long time. It was 10 cedis a thing. Last time I bought some was 4 cedis. It wasn't too long ago. And when I was laughing at the woman, she says, well, Mahama doesn't plant cassava. And we all had a laugh. Now, how can things be? Things are really expensive. I don't know what market she goes to, but things everywhere are expensive. The other day, I cleared some books from the port. I print in Singapore. It used to be that when the container comes, there's no duty on books, a few charges. You pay 1,000 cedis. The last time I paid 18,000 cedis.
Because?
There's some things that are going on there that they say this is the charge pay. So it's not as straightforward. And I'm surprised that you don't think Ghana is hard.
No, my views are not important here. It's your views.
Is Ghana hard, sir?
Yeah. It's your views that are important.
Your man says Ghana is hard.
Leave my cameraman alone. He has to focus on his work. But okay, I just want to put it in perspective because what we do here is that we're going to study what you've said and then we'll throw it up at you again. Or your people in the course of this campaign.
Feel free to call me.
So we just want to understand what you're saying. So you're saying that putting people first, prices are high. Because we get NDC is going to respond to that. So they may come and give the graduation of prices during the NPP
living
era.
a life of luxury.
No, they will have to do it statistically. So I've heard them do that before. They come and give a progression of prices in the Kufuor administration and demonstrate that
I have it here.
percentage-wise it was rising
faster. The price
faster.
of a gallon of petrol was 3 cedis. Today is 16 cedis. Bread was 2 cedis. Today is 7 cedis. Milk was 1 cedis.
Over how many years? 8 years.
Milk was
over
1
8
cedi.
years. What has been the devaluation of the cedi over that period?
Mathematics, you're bringing me. Dr. Am I there? This man wants to kill me. Maths. Please. I don't know about maths. I can't help you.
Okay, so let's take another another topic that was discussed in your document yesterday. Building a strong economy for job creation. You anticipate that the NDC has failed in that area as well. Tell us about it.
Because since 2011, there's been the most consistent decline in the GDP growth. And then
Give
because
us the figures. What has been the decline?
Mr. Adom-Otchere, you didn't tell me to come here with figures.
Okay, fair enough. No,
I can find you.
That's fair. If you don't, if you
I
have
can
to
find
refer
it
to something,
I
that's
can do
fair.
it for you.
Okay, but your general comment is that there's been a decline in GDP.
My comments are just for the thing you are reading. But if you want a GDP,
decline in GDP since which year, please?
2011.
2011.
20 maths. 2013 fiscal deficit. You know maths, yeah.
No, it's okay. I just want to get the point. Okay, so I think Boakye says it is here. It says 2 weeks ago, Dr. Bawumia provided incontrovertible proof to show that the Ghanaian economy is in crisis. The years under President Mahama's leadership have been characterized as a steady decline in the growth of GDP. Okay, so that's Boakye's document. It says the data will seem to suggest that the period from 2011 represents the period of the most consistent decline in the GDP growth since independence. The crippling economic environment cannot lead to job creation. This is why graduate unemployment has reached crisis height, with some 60% of graduates unable to find jobs. This is an extra. Okay, not much figures were provided to support the assertion here that the period from 2011 represents the period of the most consistent decline in the growth of GDP since independence. So we will hold
it's here in Dr. Bawumia's speech.
Okay.
You see the arrow going down.
What does it say? Because yesterday he didn't provide the data, the figures.
It's gone.
Okay, yeah. Let's get on. From what to what?
I can't even see because.
Okay, if I can see.
All right.
Okay, so
that arrow going down.
JDM as president. Okay, I've seen it. So it says from 2012, actually 2015. It said between 2000 and 2008, the size of Ghana's economy increased from 5.1 billion to 28 billion. A 495 increase in the 8 years. Okay, the figure is up there. Even in the face of global economic and financial crisis in 2007, with the oil reaching a record price high, economic growth in 2008 rose to 9.1. Okay, however, Ghana's GDP, notwithstanding the discovered oil, has only increased from 28 billion in 2008 to 40 billion in 2016. A 40% increase in 8 years. However, between 2012 and 2016, during the Mahama tenure as president, the economy in dollar terms shrunk by 5%.
Do you do economics like that? I have A-level in economics, but I don't. When Dr. Baba writes, I don't go there.
But you see, he's not. He says 40 billion. 28 billion to 40 billion, but when it comes to Mahama, he uses percentages, so that's a kind of different.
Your economics is strong like that.
Well, it's obvious. You don't need economics strong. He says in the first comparison, he says 28 billion to 40 billion. In the next comparison, he's using percentage. So says the Mahama has shrunk by 5%. He doesn't say that it's from 40 billion to so that the analysis and the comparative analysis is quite clear. He doesn't say that. So we'll leave that hanging for now until we have the next opportunity to do so. Do you want to tell us anything more about building a strong economy for job creation and how the NDC's manifesto and the promises indicate that the NPP's plan to build a strong economy is better than that of the NDC?
Yeah, because look at what does a good economy, a strong economy creates employment. Look at their track record in employment. The youth employment thing we had going. When Mr. Kufuor launched it on October 3, 2006, at that point, the pilot project had 33,000 people employed. By the time we left power, we had 108,000 people employed. When they came into power, the first thing they did was to lay all these people off because they didn't employ them. In the past 8 years, they have attempted to employ people. They've hit 70,000. And then the biggest expenditure in youth employment has been the create, loot, and share schemes they've had. Jada Suba with a confirmed flying all over the place, with trees that were never planted but have claimed to be dead. Who has been prosecuted for all this mess? Nobody. The money that could have gone and done things for young people in this country, there's so many kids unemployed.
There has been a call for repayment as far as Jada is concerned.
When was this call made, sir? How much has been paid? According to
the Office of the Attorney General, the money is being paid.
How much?
I don't know.
Peanuts. You gave it to him in bulk and we should wait for peanuts to come back to us? How is that justice? How can you use taxpayers' money in this fashion?
Okay, so you are citing employment, youth employment.
Because youth employment is a big thing. 48% of kids in this country, according to the World Bank, don't have jobs. So if you have money to create jobs and you don't create those jobs and you spend the money on you, create loot and share, corruption, sikedie basa basa. How does it help Ghanaians? How?
Expanding infrastructure for accelerated development. There was a piece on that yesterday. What do you have to say?
I just have to say.
The NDC have pointed to expanding infrastructure, and that's one of their high points, that they have constructed roads. They are doing the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. The Sofo line in Kumasi has been done. The Kaswa interchange is underway, and they have asphalted a significant portion of the roads across the country. In terms of hospitals, they have talked about what they are doing with the Ridge Hospital. They've talked about building a hospital per district, etc., etc., all of which are new to the Ghanaian infrastructure story.
What is new? Building roads?
No, changing
can I have my
major hospitals,
Oh.
like the Ridge Hospital.
The Ridge Hospital contract was inflated by how many millions? That doesn't count their credit. The money could have been used for something else for Ghanaians. Let me show you.
What did you say? The Ridge Hospital is not important?
The project was overinflated. So coming to sing songs about something that you stole money from Ghanaians to do, who is impressed? Nobody's impressed.
I think your use of words of stealing money and all
corruption
that
is a big thing for people in Ghana.
Yeah, but you can speculate. You've been in government before. I suggest to you that maybe it's not the way to say people have stolen money. You must have to show
people have
something.
filched money.
You can
They've been perfidious.
you can
They've
say
not
that
been too honest
you can
with
say that the
government
cost
money.
of the hospital is. You think it's exaggerated, but to
I
say
just
people have stolen money,
said
that's not fair.
overinflated, and you
That's
asked
not very
me.
fair to people.
You think so? We are trying to be fair to people.
But
here.
you have to be fair to people.
Okay, we'll work at it. It's not something we are good about.
Yeah, but
We'll
you've
work
been
at it.
in public office before, so I would have thought that you know.
Well,
that
I had
you
a
have to
minister
fetch-
like Elizabeth Ohene.
Yes.
They tried to put a tag on her to do with one laptop per child. They ran away. Elizabeth won't take a dime. So when I say corruption, I didn't see some to know some.
No, but you can't say that people are stealing money.
What else can I say?
Anyway, that's not our comment, it's your comment.
Okay, perfect.
We're waiting for you to articulate the expanding the infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the example I'll use, you heard yesterday. Government builds a school for 510,000 cedis. MTN builds a school for 170,000 cedis.
You mean government builds a school for 510?
Yeah, the GNA report
Same
said,
kind of school.
Yeah, a 6-classroom block with this at Katamanto Presbyterian School was 510,000. This was reported on November 8, 2015. 20 days later, on November 28th, the GN reported that the MTN Ghana Foundation had inaugurated a fully furnished 6-unit classroom block, an office and a store at a total cost of 170,000 for the Sikaso Methodist Basic School in the Upper West Achim district of the Eastern Region. So when the government builds one school, if you have somebody who is managing government's money properly, like Nana Akufo-Addo, you'll get 3 schools. That's what the point we're making. That they keep building.
Let me take a break on this one so that we don't lose our second break, and we'll come back and your comments are welcome.
I'll miss the TV, Papa. Okay.
We'll be right back
problem.
after the break. Back to the program. The program is generating a lot of messaging and is dividing our viewers. Some think we're having a great program, some think we're having a terribly bad program. Let's read all the messages from different sides. Jennifer says that, please, next time, bring in a good NPP rep. This lady knows nothing. Thank you, Paul. Now, that's one of those hard ones. Adjei said there's suffering everywhere in the world. Only in Ghana, we cast all our minds on government. Very soon, people will ask government to marry for them. Cecil Kabna says, I'm very disappointed in Metro TV. Why did you put this ignorant lady on prime time show like this? She knows nothing about the policy for politics. Boache Jacko could have been the best representative for the NPP on a program like this. We take your program seriously, Paul. Please, come back again. Okay. Kekeli says, the NPP lady in the studio is not great. She lacks depth. Please, get a smarter one. Hey. Well, Adjoa has depth. Abyna has depth. Anyway. Okay. George says that, Paul, ask her where those textbooks they distributed were printed. The textbooks you distributed.
Some were printed here, some were printed in India, some were printed in Malaysia.
Okay.
I know some of the printers, I know some of the publishers, that's my industry, okay, who I work with, who printed some
Catherine says that, is NPP serious at all? The lady should stop joking there. This is a serious program. NPP are indeed jokers. Mr. Host, don't you see? Okay, George says that, what is this so boring tonight? Get the lady out of the studio. Hey. Yes, it's massive.
But the thing is that...
I have to say, let me finish reading them though. Abdullah says, is this lady a social commentator or what? She can't even land on her point. Catherine says, ha ha ha. Nana Araba Koku says, this lady is a joke. I must say, she's just speaking her mind. Didn't she read before coming? She looks like a comedian to me.
Hey, serious?
Okay, okay, some on Twitter, let's do. My phone and our Facebook page is cracking up with the messages. Thank you very much for your patronage of the program. Anyway, we'll air your views accordingly. Ivan says that, tell your guests storytelling is different from serious economics. Okay, she didn't say she's an economist.
Thank you.
Okay, Jose Adongo says that couldn't you get a more knowledgeable person? Another one says that you've spoiled your show tonight by bringing this lady. Wow. Mustafa says your guest is rude and unprofessional. I hope she'll go back home and watch herself, learn how to speak better. Somebody says, Paul Adom-Otchere, today you are hot. You have met your match.
Hey, okay. Marvin.
Okay, Mustafa says, your guest seems not to be informative enough. I'm sorry, but I think most NPP communicators can do better. Adega says, Paul, the lady is just not prepared for a serious platform like yours. Too many more. It's now 10 o'clock actually.
So
we have
for all
to
the text pictures you got, nobody said...
Apparently, well, just the lady who said I've met my match. But
she's the most honest, because I think that people have been paid by NDC to get some data and just call. I'll take it in good faith. I came to speak to this man's paper. If you ask me about the economy, I don't know about the economy. I'm not going to pretend that I'm Dr. Bawumia's 2IC. I'm not. Even adding sums quite difficult for me. So if they're offended, I wish I could help them. I can't. I don't know it calls to speak to. I came to speak to this press thing, which I helped to generate. So that's what I'm capable of doing.
Let's do the last one because our time is up. Advancing transparent and accountable governance. What did you have to say about that, please?
Our president took a Ford Explorer from a contractor. A Ford Explorer. Between you and me, I think we can be able to afford a Ford Explorer for our president. So that in itself, if he takes something like that, what does he expect a lowly minister or a DCE to do? So it's charity begins at home. The boss does something and it trickles down. So if our president is not immune to corruption, then the fight to corruption is not going anywhere. All the money people have taken from us, JIDA, SUBA, SADA, what has happened to that? People think that this government is a government of family and friends. If you know Mr. Muhammad, you know him. I would like to meet him because I become his friend. I'll become rich. So people think it's a government of family and friends. When you go near them, you make money. People don't get the sense that this is a country that is equal for everybody. Everybody gets a chance to become prosperous with him at the helm. And his fight for corruption, because if we have him for another 4 years, Ghana, we are dead. At this rate, another 4 years will be bad. Very, very bad. Something here says, the audit service website says 5 billion cedis of taxpayers' money could not be accounted for, and nothing has been done. How can you tell me that you are serious about corruption when the audit service even shows you the ministry where the money was stolen from, who stole the money, who is going on retirement? Try and recover some of that money. That one, you even know where the people are. You said we don't have evidence. Now they have evidence, audit service report. Go and find the people.
Which money are you talking about?
I'm talking about the audit service reports that by 2014 under President Mahama, over 5 billion cedis of taxpayers' money spent could not be accounted for. Nothing has been done to trace and retrieve these monies. These are people, when you open the audit report, it says which ministry had the money, which accountant took the money, which person did this. You can go and find these people because they are not, now you have evidence. You don't even go after those you have evidence for. Your same point, we don't have evidence, so we can't chase ministers. Now we have evidence. 5 billion cedis is a lot of money, can do a lot of things for Ghanaian people.
Which of your books would you like to leave with me?
I think that's, let me see. I think JB Dankwa, you need to learn about him.
The one for kids?
Yes. It's for adults. I didn't want to make it too serious. But the things in there you don't know half about. Okay, I'll look at it. I thank you very much for coming up now. It's always my pleasure. I'll see your viewers who are unhappy. Oh, I wish I could help. Have a pleasant evening.
That's Good Evening Ghana for tonight. We always have different kinds of programs. I'm sure the conversations will continue in the offices tomorrow and it will not end. Now, if you see me in the street, don't ask me any question because I also saw it live. When you saw it, that's when I saw it. I have no answers to give you. Let's meet again on Thursday, but make a date with us on the 4th of October. Ajman Prempeh will be here to redeem his pledge that God has spoken to him about who would win the elections, and the conversation with God has happened today on the 20th of September. 4th October is Ajman Prempeh. Next Thursday, we have another edition of the program. Go on our Facebook page and make your mind known, and we will duly acknowledge it. Thanks for watching and good night.